The Blind Knight. Hey, Jesse.
Hello, Sir Richard.
I figured I'd get you this time and not even let you know that I was starting recording.
Well, if you've noticed, I was quiet before that because I figured it was coming, so I'm learning.
Yeah, we're teaching you. We're teaching you. Let's go over the topics for the show this week. We're gonna try a new different little format in here and see if that works. There's really not a lot of Knights of the Braille news other than Mothership. It's still going on, although we had to take 2 weeks off, one for Mother's Day and one for this upcoming Saturday. But we will be back a week from this upcoming Saturday. So I'm pretty sure everybody is excited about that. That tunes
It's been
in.
so long.
Yes, it has. But the Everyone Games event is coming up the last day of September and the first day of October. There is a wrestling play by post ran by Hi Ho Del Padre, who is still looking for players. If anybody is interested, please get in touch with him on the Discord or get in touch with me and I will put you in touch with him. Uh, as for news, that's about it. Jesse, segment number one, or we're gonna try to do like four topics here. Uh, what's a good game master or dungeon master tip that you have, being blind and or visually impaired, whatever you want to call it?
Well, you see, I was trying to do a professor voice, didn't work. Well, I would say the best tip is take notes, obviously, but take them, and you'll learn this the more you get into it. But take the notes with as much flexibility as possible. Don't stick to, well, they have to do it this way. They have to enter this way, they have to take this path because they're going to change things on you. They may say something that completely gets rid of everything you planned for that session, and you have to modify it on the fly, which I've done. I've been there. You've been part of it because
Mm-hmm.
I think you said the rhymers used to do it a lot,
Oh yeah, I mean all the time.
or the unknowns, or whatever we were.
Yeah, all the time. Like you said, you have to be flexible. Don't try to railroad your players there, but be
You
ready
do
to
railroad them, do it to where they don't know you're railroading them.
right. Be ready to change things up a little bit to improv. But speaking of taking notes, it's kind of a GM tip, but it's
I've
kind
done
of
that both
like
ways.
do what now?
Oh, I interrupted you.
I know. I'm telling
Where's
you.
your thing?
Oh, I'm just letting it go. I'm gonna play them all at
Okay.
one time.
Okay.
But how do you go about taking notes?
Well, I've done it both ways. The way I'm doing it now and the way I did it for the first campaign was I took notes, like whatever session part of the book you guys were in. Like I took enough notes to what I figured would be, well, this, they pretty much get this done in one session. And then when we did Storm King's Thunder, I think it was, I always forget Storm King's, I think it was Thunder. I didn't take any notes and I just read over the parts for that week and kind of took memorized like the important things, but left it all up to me winging it and my interpretation of stuff. I think it's better to have the notes just because with things like creatures and stuff like that, knowing their hit points and their attacks like that, I was just scrolling through it on the app, but I think it's better to have the notes there. So I would suggest, like I said in the tip, just take the notes for however long you think what you think they'll be able to get through in a week, basically, is how I do it. I don't ever go, and I probably should, but I don't ever go further than the characters are, players are.
Right. And you run the pre-written campaigns,
Yeah.
and I've done that. And it's a bit different when you're doing some home brewing.
I feel
So
like it would be easier to do homebrew and make it all up yourself than the notes you need to take. Like, I want to get to that point because I feel like that would be less stressful on me in particular. Because if you're creating it all from your head, then I feel like it might be simpler
yeah,
in some ways.
and it can be that way. Homebrew is a little bit more not intense, but can be a little bit more detail oriented. You know, because you're creating stuff on your own and you don't want to forget like different locations or
Yeah.
things like that. And with the pre-written stuff, you have the names of things there and you can go back and reference it. But at the same time, like you said, with the whole like monster stats and all, that's something that I feel that you need to write down, and
Uh,
it's a lot easier to reference on like a WordPad document than it is to.
like I tried to look back and forth, but I think it was more hectic for me.
I believe I was talking.
Sorry, Steven.
But because it's a lot easier, like I said, to reference a WordPad than it is to try to look it up on an internet, website or something along those lines. At least it's that way for me,
Yeah.
you know. And let's see. So when you're taking your monster stats, since that's seeming where we're going to go with this one here, what
Mhm.
do you write down for your monster stats?
Well, I start out with the hit points, HP, whatever slash whatever, and then I do the armor class, and then I'll do the attacks. Like I'll say, let's just make it generic. Sword slash. All right, sword slash plus whatever, and then I'll just put next to it will be the damage 1d12 plus 2. I should probably write the feet down. I'll write the feet down if it's anything different than 5 feet.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
That's pretty much how I do it.
So you got what you're saying is, and it's what I agree with, is the bare basics, because you're
Yes.
having to listen to your players as well as listen to Jaws at the same time.
And a nice helpful thing is like, say there's 3 skeletons. I would just copy and paste and change the number. I'll put skeleton 1, skeleton 2, and skeleton 3.
Yeah,
But I only have to write it once because it's the same thing.
exactly. Um, and the second little segment that we're going to have here is an environmental hazard, and you're going to try to combine it with like critter of the week or monster of the week kind of thing. Um, what's what's one environment to you that's really really hard to describe?
Mm.
I mean, I know mine right off the top of my head is
Yours is different word. It's not I guess it's an environment. Yours would be different words for fog.
yes. I mean, how many different ways can you describe that?
Now, in the book, in the Strahd book, did they use different words for fog?
They basically said, from what I can remember, is that it's always covered in fog. But if I'm
Okay.
describing a scene to my
You're trying
players,
to make it more interesting.
yeah, I mean, there's only so many ways to describe. Yes, there's fog on the ground. Oh, there is vapor that is on the
There's
ground.
a
Slight
there's a
mist.
thick mist.
There's only so many ways to handle that
Describe
descriptive.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, what else can you? That's my hardest environment that I've come across.
Here's mine, and it's kind of specific, but it's really not. You can make it. I'll say caverns, or basically the whole underdark of the abyss.
And
It's tricky.
And
It's like
why
you're in
would you,
another tunnel.
and describe how you handle that.
Well, I'll just be like, I'll just say, you're going through another winding tunnel, and I'll try to describe like what's in there, meaning like maybe there's different mushrooms or there's a different rope ladder or a different hazard instead of like trying to make each tunnel specifically different. I'll focus more on what's in the tunnel than the tunnel itself.
And something else that you could do, and it just popped into my head as you were talking about that. With fog, I mean, you could say it's a little thicker, it's a little lighter. Maybe,
It's denser here, it's thinner
yeah.
here.
Maybe with the tones, you could say oh, the rock's a little lighter here, or,
Hmm.
there's a bit more
It's a
water
little
dripping.
newer of a
Yeah,
tunnel.
something along those lines.
Yeah.
And this is of course we're both game masters, and you know sometimes whenever you're the one sitting in the GM chair, it's your mind, and I'm not sure if Jesse's this way, I know mine is, will get stuck on one thing like the fog is thick, and that's what you keep saying, but it's one of
Mhm.
those things that's really hard or really difficult to get away from because it's a go-to, it's quick, and you're trying to get to the rest of the scene that's more important, but you want to set the basis of the description.
I get stuck on that, but I think for me, I'll be like, and the fog is still thick. Like I'll kind of make a joke about it, like make it kind
Right,
of breaking the fourth wall a little bit, I guess,
right, and
which we do a lot in our session
oh yeah,
on
I mean,
Tuesday, especially.
especially on Wednesdays now,
Now, oh my God, yeah. Oh,
well, we can talk about that, at a
oh yeah,
later
we need to talk
time
about that.
after y'all have another session or so to see how you really really like it. You know, let's talk about, it's one of the top 10 according to this website underrated monsters out there, and I've never come across one in a game, but maybe you have because you played with Jim, and we know how devilish he can be. An Aboleth or a Boleth, depending on how
Oh, I
you're.
don't think I did, unless like we played an Eric's game and it was homebrew. So unless he based a monster off that, like the name, I don't know.
Well, it's an underwater. Basically, I'm picturing it because, of course, I am blind and I can't see a picture of it. I'm picturing it being a lot like a brain kind of creature
Yeah.
that lives in basically the Underdark, in
Hmm.
lakes, rivers, ponds. And the reason I say I'm picturing it like a brain type of creature is because it has tentacles and they have long lasting memories because they were once treated like gods and had servants until the real gods came down and basically dethroned them, put them in their place, and they've been plotting revenge ever since.
You could make a whole campaign out of that, basically, kind of.
Oh yeah, and it would be a ton of fun because
Mhm.
here's the thing. According to this, when an Aboleth dies, it goes back to its original plane, where in so many days, I think like D10 days, it starts getting another body.
Oh,
And it retains their memories from the day that they fell. So they have memories of their parents, grandparents, great grandparents, so forth and so on, which is really, really interesting because they remember the fall, and that's why they have, such a vengeful spirit, I guess you could say. They want to
that
overthrow
that
the
would
real
be
gods.
that would be kind of a cool character arc, not to play an Aboleth, but to play maybe some kind of character that was a god and now was kicked. Like that could be interesting too. Was kicked out or something.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it could be a whole campaign in itself
Hmm.
just from this one creature, and they're a CR of 10, and they, of course, lawful evil, and their AC is 17. And I believe, while I did do the Google research to see if you could convert it to a D6, never found anything. Now, granted, it was a quick search,
You would
but
have to do it yourself, probably.
yeah, I think you really could, and I think it would be really, really easy to do it.
You're going to make it a monster of the week, aren't you?
I'm not saying anything.
But you're going to make it a monster of the week, aren't you?
Possibly.
Okay. Your mum on the word.
But
He interrupted me.
I didn't interrupt him.
you did. I had to play it. I mean, I just had to.
Okay.
But I thought with you doing the Underdark for the environment, I thought the Aboleth fit really well. And what's really awesome is Jesse and I didn't even talk about the environment before we got actually on the podcast, and I had already picked this monster, and like we both said, it's definitely the possibilities for a campaign in itself.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, are you saying you'd like to see this in Monsters of the Week?
No, I just think it could be one. Like, it could be interesting.
Who knows? Maybe the crew is being, managed or controlled by an Aboleth.
So, which book or whatever, where did the crew come from?
Crew comes from Warhammer 40K.
Oh, that's right. You did tell me that. Okay, that's right.
See, everybody who doesn't pay attention, he's just so
It was
uninterested.
2 weeks ago or a week ago. I got shit going on.
Do you? Oh, y'all hear that, everybody? He's in the toilet, as we record.
No,
this.
I'm not in the toilet.
But we have known people who do. So.
Yes.
Oh, we have heard it before.
Quite a few, to be honest.
Yeah, strangely enough. And I've heard it in other podcasts too, which is, this is just a free tip for everybody. If you're playing in a session and you
mute,
yes, control
well,
shift
for me,
M for Discord.
Yep. For me, for instance, though, I have to leave. I leave my laptop, so like, I wouldn't take anything to where you could hear me if I had to run to the bathroom or something like that. But
right, and
I don't have like wireless headphones or anything.
And I mean, I use my headset. Unless I'm like running the game, then I have the wire just because of the lag that you can get with the Bluetooth. But muting is a wonderful thing, and if you start like hacking up a lung, or there's lots of background noise, or even say, Jesse, it's not your turn, mute. It's a great.
See, I'm bad at that, I think, because I don't really mute when it's not my turn, only because I'm so reactionary with my character that I might want to react to something that someone said or did.
Right, and I can understand that. But like me, whenever I'm running a game, or heck, even whenever I'm playing, if I can tell it's going to be a lot of other role play with other people, like me not involved, I will go on mute. Because...
And then I'll browse Kindle books. Or...
Yeah, and just be
the funny thing, though, and it's not to put down any other campaigns or anything, but I'm going to give you and our players credit. I am interested in every bit of role play that our Wednesday session has ever done. That's how invested in those characters. And I'm talking about the whole lot of it that I've been. Whereas like in other campaigns, I couldn't give two shits what was going on with a certain character if it didn't involve me. And I'd be bored. But never with the group we have on Wednesdays, ever. Even if it's Bodar or whoever, or Calton or whoever it is, was nowhere to be found, I was always interested.
And that's a good
I think that just shows what... Now, I'm not trying to kiss all your asses, but it just shows what great group of players we do have.
Not to mention your DM is pretty good too.
Well, yeah, obviously, but
I mean, I know him. He's a jerk, but he's tries
He's probably my best friend now. So
Oh, Temple again? Well, it is what
no,
it
no,
is.
not Temple.
Oh, not this
Temple's my
week?
friend. I don't know. That's the thing. Like what if we come back and we're all excited to play Mothership, and then he hates me because of the way his coin flipped?
I guess you'll just have to go into kind of what our third segment is about, and that's improving.
Oh
What's the word? Improvisation? Don't ask me to
yes,
say big words.
improv. That's not that big of a word.
Improvisation is a big
There you
word
go.
for a
No,
redneck.
it's not a big. We're not. Are you? Would you identify technically as a redneck? Like, do you?
Yeah, I'm not a hillbilly because there's no hills here, but I'm a redneck, sir. I mean, I eat like sows and
Did
pretty
you
much
ever? Did
pretty
you
much
ever hear
everything.
of the horror movie, The Redneck Zombies?
I have actually, yes.
I love that, even though it's bad. Love
It
it.
it
Love it.
was a
Love it. Love it.
horrible movie, but good at the same time.
It was cool because it was like filmed on a camcorder, like it was just people that loved the movie, like making a movie. I think
Yeah.
that's why I like it.
Um, but in improving,
Hmm.
how do you handle that? What do you use as, I guess, like a
I l-
basis?
I love it. That's why I try to do Storm King's Thunder without any notes because I love improving. Like my favorite time was back when I ran the Christmas episode or one shot we decided not to record halfway through, and you guys decided to do something. Well, I'm not going to say you guys; it wasn't you. Someone, I'm not going to name names, decided to do something else and take it in a different direction. So I had to improv the whole one shot basically, and that was the most fun I've ever had because I always loved, playing with my action figures, and I would be real in my mind, like real in depth with the stories. Like there would be a part where they fought the villains, and then they would have to go back to their fortress and discuss what was going on. Like there would be downtime. Like I was so into that aspect of like the storytelling and everything that I love improv. So it comes so naturally to me. I don't even know what tips I would give because it's just that's my sweet spot.
You know, um, I will agree with you, and I get a lot of my improv inspiration from all the books that I read.
Yeah.
You can take something from there and throw it in whenever the players do something differently, or I don't go in as a player intentionally trying to throw the
No,
GM
I've never
off.
done that either.
I know some players that do that, and we both do. Um,
Mhm.
but uh, you need to be ready, and I get ready by all the stuff that I've read, movies, and podcasts. You can take something from anything that you've read, listened to, or anything along those lines. And those have been some of my funnest, sessions as well. And I know I've heard you and Adrian, and I'm saying you two specifically, but I've heard the rest of the group say it as well that, y'all could not tell that I was improving something.
No,
And I'm saying you two because it was basically back during Curse of Strahd that y'all had no idea that y'all had went off script after the first like 2 or 3 minutes.
no. What I have a question for you since you've been DMing longer than me. What is the most you think you've ever had to improv a session? Like you had something all planned out and we completely fucked it up.
I know we bring it up a lot, but the whole windmill thing
Okay.
that was not planned.
So it's just supposed to be knock on the door or
Yeah,
open
it
the
was
door.
literally you knock on the door, they would have let you into the door, into the windmill.
I don't know why I think what happened with that, and we've talked about it, I know a ton, but I think I just expected more because of who you are and how you run things. I think that's why I thought I need to do something
And
drastic.
and so that's where the improving comes into play because I change my style so that y'all don't get used to
Right. Yeah.
the
I'm like,
way
oh, we're gonna get fucked here, so we gotta do something.
right.
But yeah, I've said to you before, that's why I think if I can get to it, I think I would like home brewing because I like making shit up.
Right. And
Because I feel like the sessions are a little more. I mean, I like the pre-written campaigns. That's what we're doing here, but I have to change things during them because I feel like they're too formulaic.
they could be kind of railroady. I like the pre-written campaigns because you can have them as a basis of
An
something,
overall
and
story, like
yeah, and
yeah,
go off of it. Another one of the big sessions was whenever um, Maxine's character Silmistra turned into the chair.
oh god, I hate that.
That whole thing was off the cuff. And there's been other sessions, but those are the two that really come to mind. Well, and then the final Curse of Strahd session where people go in and cast all of their spells. But
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about improving a lot, and if people enjoy it, we will keep the whole improving and get to a I would like Jesse to get to where like I could throw something at you and you tell me how you would handle it.
Oh,
Kind
that
of
would be
thing,
fun.
kind of
Yeah.
like an example. And
Sure.
and we can give like a little short example here, like Jesse, you walk into a room where there's toadstools that are 3 foot tall. What do you do?
Tall my.
You are 6 feet.
Do they look threatening, or are they just like plain old toadstools?
You don't know. They appear to be plain looking toadstools, but how many times do you see
What
toadstools that tall?
kind of a weapon do I have? Or
You
am I
got
me as in me?
Yeah, we'll say this year you as in you.
I'll hit one of those bastards with my cane to see if it reacts.
Spores fly out, and you will immediately begin sneezing as you are poisoned with the allergy spell.
Damn it.
See? I mean, that's
But I
quick
love that stuff.
improv.
Like I enjoy doing that.
Yeah, that's like a quick example of an improv.
Hmm.
Little thing. And I like it. I think it's a lot of fun, and hopefully everybody else will as well.
Do
You
you
know,
feel like that you've gotten more comfortable with improv as you've been GMing for a while? Because
yeah.
it's like for me, it was always one of my
Yeah, I
favorite
had 5
things.
seconds before you interrupted me.
Sorry, I didn't know you were. Continue, please.
No, it's okay. But yeah, I think I've gotten better about. I've gotten really more comfortable doing it.
Mhm.
I'm not necessarily meaning better as in I'm better than anybody else with it, but
Right. Yeah.
more comfortable definitely.
Hmm.
But what about you? I mean, because you've ran games for a little over a year now, year and a half, year and a third, something like that. How about you?
Well, when I first started, and we did. What was the one called we did? Do you remember? Oh, Lost Mine of
The Lost
Fandavar.
Mine, yeah.
I was very strict, taking all the notes as much as I could, and then it was just too much, too stressful for me to know like what to take, what not to take, how far to go, when to stop, that sort of thing. So it's kind of developed to where I have a system now of taking the least, just what I need to know
Yeah.
and what I need to remember, and then I'm comfortable with improving the rest of it.
You've gotten to the point where you find out what's most important and what
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas me, I mean, I've gotten better about taking less notes, but I take a lot of notes still because
Mhm.
it helps me to remember.
Yeah. The
That's me.
the biggest thing for me is forgetting the NPC names that they either are in the book or I have come up with off the top of my head. I can't remember them the next week.
And here's another tip for everybody: just call everybody Bob. You know,
Yeah.
or Daryl. And this is Daryl, my other brother Daryl. But I know
The,
we
the
get
saddest thing is the only NPC name I've never forgotten is Emma.
Emma. You never forgot Periwinkle.
Well, I'm saying that I created. Oh yeah,
Gotcha.
Periwinkle is the best.
Gosh. But, yeah. Let's see here. That's really about it. I know, everybody seems to love your, reading recommendation. So let me, see if I can get that queued up.
Alrighty.
Take a seat and listen for Jesse's reading recommendations.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Blind Library. Today, I'm recommending a book that I first read in school. Now, I don't know why we read this book in school because it's very different from the other stuff that we pretty much read throughout the years, but it's a fantasy book. It is The Phantom's Tollbooth by Norton Juster. And it's about a boy named Milo who is bored with his life, and one day a toll booth shows up. And he gets a package and it's a toll booth. And he goes on all these adventures to crazy different worlds. He meets crazy characters. He has a dog friend named TikTok who, yes, has a clock in his chest. And it is just a delightful book. It's one of my favorites. It's one I really think about getting on Audible with one of my credits. There's an actual animated movie that's not that bad. I think it might be free on YouTube. And I love everything about this book. We read it in third grade, I think. I don't know. It doesn't seem like the type of book, and you and I might not have read the same books in school, probably didn't, but it doesn't seem like the type of book you would read for school, but we read it in third grade.
I remember us reading it. I don't remember what grade it was, but I remember us reading that one, the Doctor Doolittle book,
Oh, I never
uh,
read that.
and there were some other ones, but I remember those. The one, and it's weird for me. The one that I remember more than anything else was a short story that we read in high school. The Celebrated Jumping Frog of Calvaris County, I think was the name of it, by Mark Twain.
I think I've read that, but I don't remember it.
When they put like the marbles or the rocks in the frog and it can't jump.
Oh wait, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
That sounds like something Steven would do, not me.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, and I don't know why I remember that one and A Midsummer's Night Dream. But this is of course Jesse's reading recommendation
I
because
love that. That's
nobody.
another good one. I love Midsummer Night's Dream. I
Oh
like
yeah.
Shakespeare, but I love Midsummer Night's Dream.
But see, nobody wants Richard's reading recommendation, so
I do.
no, nobody else
I've
does.
always asked you, what have you read this week? Anything? Have you finished anything? Or
I finished the Dungeon Crawler Carl books. They're a
oh,
lit RPG. Well, I finished the fourth one. The fifth one has been recorded but hasn't been like released yet. I guess they're editing it. Oh man, they are awesome. To quote Jesse, I highly recommend those for anybody. They are really good. That's all I can say is they're really really good. The dynamic between the main characters is phenomenal. The narrator is really really good. So it's by Matt. The way I have my screen reader set up reads it Dinnerman, but I'm not sure. I know his first name's Matt, but you can definitely find it by looking up Dungeon Crawler Carl. And
it
that's
had to be good if you finished all of them,
yeah. I
like
read I
in a
read
row.
1 through 4 back to back to back.
Mhm.
Um, I binge read instead of binge watching them, should I say? But I guess that's really about it, Jesse. Of course, if y'all have any questions about running a game or playing a game as a blind person or visually impaired person or as a sighted person with somebody who is blind or visually impaired in your group, be sure to shoot us an email. Our contact information is in the show notes. You can find us on Twitter, me at RichardBean83, And Jesse, how can they get in contact with you?
You can find me on Twitter at the Jesse B83. Jesse's JESSE B83.
And that is because he is the only Jesse B83.
No, I had Jesse B83, but Twitter, when you try to reset your password, it only gives you access to or it used to, I don't know if it still does, the email you signed up with, which was an email that I no longer could get into. So I had to come up with something
because
else.
we create strong passwords and then never can remember what the password is.
Mm-hmm.
Happens to me all the time. But hey, that's it for this week. Hope you've enjoyed it. Again, ask us any questions that you may have. Remember to give us a rating in the review section. I'm going to say below. It could be above, could be to the side. I don't know. But if you're watching this on YouTube or on any of your local or locally podcast feeds, remember to like, share, and
Subscribe.